I mentioned intentional thrift in a earlier podcast that I recorded today. I ended up with some time. I'm a little bit early to pick up my kid, and so I do podcasts and I do presentations, and I talked about intentional thrift as something that I'm being a little bit more serious about. It's something that I've practiced for a long time, but to be honest, I have also, spent every dollar I've had when it comes to, social peer pressure. The wife wants something. What I've found is that the majority of my life, I've been able to. So there's a difference between intentional thrift and being cheap. First off, I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. So I tend to reuse things a lot. I tend to recycle. I tend to, if I don't really need it, I don't buy it. There are times I'll buy stuff that I enjoy. Everybody does this, by the way. They might find a new piece of equipment. They might find a new firearm or something that they just have to have. I've bought electronics that were a little overkill for what I needed, but I tend to keep electronics for like 7 years. I'm recording this on an iPhone 7 in 2023. I figure as long as it works, I'm going to keep using it. But there's a big difference between intentional thrift and being cheap. So thrift sometimes has a negative connotation, but it shouldn't, because bank thrift is to not waste money when serving their customers. Thrift is really about getting the most out of something, being a good steward. Where being cheap is like stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. I have met people who will just waste more money trying to save money than just. So, for example, a vehicle with a 0% interest rate, okay, that was purchased for less than the trade-in value at the time of purchase. So it was the older car on the lot. There's buying strategies. That's being thrifty, buying things and getting a good value. We did a whole program about buying equipment for your farm that pays for itself within the same year of purchase. So the truck I'm sitting in, I purchased this truck at less than trade-in value. So I could have taken it off of one lot, drove down the road, and traded it in and made money. But I needed a truck. And so I had to have other ways for the truck to pay for itself. But I've known people who have a mortgage with an interest rate, have credit cards with an interest rate, and they have this car loan with 0%. So they got this great deal on a car. It's 0% interest, okay? And they pay the car off early. I'm like, you're working with free money. In fact, you're paying off the loan with inflated dollars. So you're actually making out quite well with 0% interest. It would be better to pay off your mortgage earlier because the mortgage has an interest rate. And they say, oh, Justin, you don't understand. The mortgage has a tax deduction. I was like, well, what does that have to do with anything? They're giving you back your own money. So it's like, if you didn't spend the money in the first place, you'd already have the money, and then you could put the money into an investment, or you could, for example, chickens and goats and livestock is a great investment. Today, I was talking with a farmer yesterday. The hay bales have almost doubled in value from when he cut them in the field. If he calculated all of his costs and his time and everything, the hay bales were pretty expensive. But if he has to go buy a hay bale today, and this is just towards the end of the season, he'd have to pay a multiple of what it cost him to put that hay bale up. Now, again, there are times where cutting your own hay is more expensive than just buying hay, but in this case, to feed his animals, he has made money by cutting hay instead of buying feed. And so these are things about, this is thrift, this is stewardship, this is getting the most from what you have, and not wasting things. But paying off a 0% interest rate on a car, paying extra money every month to pay off a car, no matter how it makes you feel, is not a good decision if it has a 0% interest. You'd be better off investing in chickens to get eggs, investing in chickens to get meat, investing in your homestead, and making sure that you're debt-free in your homestead. Now, having debt that's 0% interest is not really debt, by the way, folks. it's an obligation that you have to pay, and maybe you might have been better off getting a used vehicle that has no payment that you could pay cash for. I don't know your family situation. It's different. In the case of purchasing this vehicle, I calculate the entire cost of the loan, and that was the number I'm basing my decision on. So the entire cost of the loan is less than this vehicle, the sale price on this vehicle, and that's because this vehicle was sitting on the guy's lot for 2 years, or about almost 2 years, and it's got these nice little boxes on it. They're perfect for me, but evidently not a good idea for the rest of the customers. This vehicle was sitting there waiting for me to come along, and the hundreds of other people that looked at it didn't want it. So this guy's paying dealer fees to have it on the lot. He's paying somebody to wash it. There's all these things that are going on, and so he's willing to get rid of this vehicle, just get it off the lot. And so that's why he gave me such a low price. Now, the research required to do that did not take that much time. It's not just, I'm not going to 50 dealerships. I'm going online and searching for vehicles. That's what I mean by intentional thrift. You're making decisions with your money so that you can have more life from that money. So you're saying, okay, I want to build this homestead. You have this palatial mansion in mind. I would love to have the McMansion, but on 100 acres. Well, then you got to clean the thing, and then you got to do maintenance, and then let's say it's just you and your spouse, and because the kids have all gone away, and now you've got 5 bedrooms and you're only using 1. The intentional thrift concept of that is to say, what are my real needs? Like, so for me, I'm downsizing hard. I think 1,000 square foot house is too big. Why? Because I want more outdoor time. I've spent a career, more than 20 years in a career where I'm sitting in front of a computer all day. And I'm on webinar, I'm on conference calls, and I'm on, I do a lot of business travel. But I'm sitting in front of a computer. So I want to be able to have my breakfast on the porch with the, still a little crisp outside. The sun is coming up, and I'm starting my day outside. And then if I got to go sit in front of the computer for 8 hours, then it's okay, because my lunch I had outside, I took a little walk in the woods, I've got all that. So again, I could do that in a 700 square foot house. I don't need a 3,000 square foot house. I don't need a 10,000 square foot house. But there are elements that would be nice when it comes to the homestead, like a larger workshop, or like better indoor storage for equipment. So again, it's making conscious decisions about how you're going to apply the capital, what you're going to do with your time, and then what does it mean after you purchase. So this particular truck, I purchased it. I've been using the heck out of it, man. I throw stuff. I'll be on the property and I'll find a piece of trash. I'll just throw it in the back of the truck, and then I'll scoop it all out at the end of the day and put it in trash bags, and I'm cleaning up the woods. I've got these toolboxes back here. One side has hand tools, like a little hatchet and handsaw, mallet, things like that, bushcraft type stuff. The other side has a couple shovels in it. I take rakes or the hoe when I'm out gardening. So the other side's more garden side. I got a pack of work gloves in this one. I've got everything I need so I can show up. I was leaving my property yesterday, and I went ahead and just trimmed out all the hedges so I have a better line of sight coming out of the driveway. I didn't have to go to the shed to get the materials. It's all in the truck. It's ready to go. So this truck was not the most expensive. It's not the cheapest, but it serves my needs, and it serves them in a way that I'm yielding a much higher return than I would with any other choice that was there. But I made a choice. I didn't just go buy the truck because it was cheap. I didn't just go buy the truck because it was on the lot. Again, I looked at 4 or 5 vehicles once I narrowed down the type of vehicle I was looking for. Intentional thrift goes in all different places, in clothing, and what you choose to do for vacations. So, for example, this sweater is probably 15 years old. And as long as I maintain it and keep it in good condition, that's one of the things my parents taught me a long time ago, is that if you get clothing, just take care of it. It'll last a long time. I think this is a $12 Rural King jacket. As far, actually, it's a little nice. So I have one of these that's black, and I have one of these that's brown. The brown one is a work jacket. I take it out at work, but this one is my business work jacket. So I wear this when I'm going out going to interact with other people. But again, it's item for purpose, not because it's cheap. And it's not cheap. It's actually a pretty high quality material, canvas on the outside. I haven't had any stitching problems or anything like that. It's a work jacket. It's durable, but it didn't cost me a lot of money. Now, you can go buy a $50 jacket if you want. It's up to you. As long as you're going to get the work out of it. As long as you're going to get the value out of it. As long as you mend it. So the mending culture, I've known how to sew for a long time. Mending your clothing is something that you can do to make clothing last for years. It's just... So again, we're not being cheap. We're not mending our clothing because we can't afford to buy new clothes. We're mending the clothes because it doesn't take that long. And we can do it while we're watching TV. And we can, it's kind of for me, I like to just listen to some music and I'll sew stuff up. I'm learning a shishiko stitch. And it's kind of a running stitch that you use for mending clothes. And I'm chilling out. Could I afford to buy a new pair of pants? Yes. I'd go down to Goodwill and get a $3 pair of pants. Okay. I could go get a $50 pair of pants if I wanted to. But if that $3 pair of pants has a similar quality to the $50 pair of pants, I'm going to buy the $3. But I'm not going to Walmart and buying cheap pants that are really thin. I'm going to Rural King. I'm going to Tractor Supply. I'm going to a place where I can get durable clothing. Does this make sense? Intentional thrift is about making decisions with your money. It's about minding your household budget. It's about having a full pantry. It's about buying in bulk. It's about making decisions about your purchasing. Many of the decisions I've made in the last probably 5 years or so have made a significant difference in my mental well-being, in my physical health, in my enjoyability. And sometimes it's not going to make any sense to anybody else. And sometimes people are going to criticize you. I think I have 2 or 3 sweaters. Okay. I don't have 10 sweaters. But basically, I've had people criticize me. They're like, hey, I saw you wear that sweater. Hey, where'd the 90s wants your sweater back. It's a perfectly good sweater. Keeps me warm. I dress in layers. Now I get a lot of T-shirts from vendors and stuff too. So my as I always say, my socks and underwear are new, but the rest of the stuff, man, I'm gonna wear that as long as it'll have me. I'm gonna wear it. And then of course I've got clothing for business clothing for work, and I got clothing for outside working clothing. So I do have T-shirts that are all stained out, and jeans that have got bleach marks on them and stuff. But again, that's work clothes versus regular clothes. Intentional thrift is about making decisions. Do you really need a big house? Do you want to spend more time outside or more time inside? Or what's your lifestyle look like now versus how it looked in the past? What are your needs for retirement or financial savings? All these other details are very important. So intentional thrift is about making decisions. Being cheap is about not thinking and just buying the lowest cost item. The last point I want to leave you with is that if you buy the lowest cost item and it wears out prematurely, or you have to mend it too much, then you are going to spend more money over time. So we want to look at the time value of money. We want to look at the expenses over time. We want to maintain a budget. We want to maintain our understanding of the work at hand so that we can, be better stewards of our money, so that we can get more from what we have, so that we can grow the abundance and the financial security that helps us feel better about ourselves or better about our situation, and then to provide for our families and provide for our community. So I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. I hope this has been a useful, there are times I'm cheap, but I'm cheap on purpose, which makes it thrifty. But I hope this has been a good definition and understanding of what it means to be intentionally thrifty versus actually cheap. And I hope this helps you. If it does, let me know by liking and subscribing on the YouTube channel or Rumble or BitChute or wherever this video is right now. And also go out and visit www.prosperityhomestead.org and join our free newsletter. I do publish exclusive content on different channels, depending on what my audience is looking for, and I can share with you where that content's located, and you can get tips, ideas, and concepts that are going to help you have a prosperous homestead, financially, familiarly, and emotionally. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. Visit me at www.prosperityhomestead.org.